5 days you work, 1 whole day to play. Come on everybody, wear your roller skates today. It's Saturday, 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 it's Saturday, Saturday, it's Saturday, Saturday, it's Saturday,
Saturday with Renee.
All right, what's up, world? Welcome back to Black Liberation Media, episode 118 of undisputed, undefeated, unbroken episodes of Saturdays with Renee, featuring Renee Johnston. I'm Jared Ball. Renee, what is going on? As we ask everybody to like, share, subscribe, support the Patreon. Welcome in, everybody. Put this in your socials. Yeah, what's going on?
Man, listen, I went to bed yesterday like I don't have to do no work in the morning. We just gonna do an AMA. It's gonna be laid back, get to chat with the chatters. And then I had to text Jared this morning, like, government's messing with my plans to not have to do any prep work for the show. I agree. Left-hand black cat girl says, I can't stop watching Telesur. So worried for Maduro, his family, and the Venezuelan people. Agreed. And there's almost like, it's this feeling of like, what do you even do? What do you even do? I don't even know. I have a friend who's in Colombia right now. And I sent her a text like, yo, I don't know what I can do, but if there's anything I can do, like, please let me, because you just don't know where they're going to turn next, right? And Colombia's president having the audacity to be in support of Maduro and to call this out, like,
Well, I mean, the obvious thing, obviously, is that everybody who wants or is concerned for sovereignty or any claim of democracy or autonomy should be against this, even if you don't like Maduro for whatever reason.
Right.
But right. I know that all, will often get lost in imperial favoritism being played. But I mean, that should be just a baseline, very simple. How look, even ear doctors on point. Rotten Orange is at it again. And Rotten Orange, pun intended, in that a lot of fruit and food is going bad. And the food system is bad, in part because of all of the policies being imposed on North American U.S. citizens, which is now being distracted from, or we're being invited to as a distraction by using the old imperial trick of let's bomb a colonized community whenever there is a need to deflect and redirect attention away from what is being done to your own people by your own people, allegedly, as it's called, and so on.
Right.
So
it's interesting watching. Like, I was almost late logging in because I was down such a rabbit hole, like reading reports, because it's very interesting to see the different tactic of response. Some countries just flat out saying, like, we condemn this. We're not in support of military aggression against sovereign nations and their leadership. And then you have some people saying, like, well, Maduro wasn't a legit president anyway, so this was good. Then some people have the audacity. They're like, Venezuelans are cheering, and then when you read, it's like abroad. Like, it's like people in Miami. Meanwhile,
it's the Miami Cuban effect.
Right. Meanwhile, it sounds like the Venezuelan people are taking to the street in opposition to what's happened. Um, but it's just like reading through the news here and then reading through the news abroad. I'm seeing really like any mainstream media, if it is mainstream, whether it is here or elsewhere, is all captured. It's all captured media. Like that we're using social media to make political announcements about military strikes in other countries is wild to me. Like you learned this on Twitter for a lot of people. Like wild. And then when you read the news reports, it's, basically, well, as reported by the president.
On Truth Social.
Right. I'm like, so the mainstream media is quoting the social media to give updated reports to the US public about what's happening with regard to military actions in foreign countries. What is happening?
I mean, just the idea, and I don't know if there's been updates in the last little bit, but just the idea that I don't think they've offered up. I've seen some countries saying that they're still waiting for proof of life from Maduro
Yes.
and his wife.
Yes.
And I haven't seen many details on what was this. I've only seen described briefly as this high level, highly sophisticated military precise. I'm gonna have to tune in and get back into touch with all my special forces YouTube channels to see what they have to say about it, and what was likely some brilliant Delta Force excursion of some kind that will no doubt be turned into some movie starring whomever is your favorite whatever at some point. Chris Platt's next project or whatever. But I mean, just the idea that and then to your point and others' points that at at least the symbolic nominal top of the leadership board in this country is someone. I mean, I can't even imagine, never mind all of the stuff about his own avoiding military service and all of that kind of, traditional stuff of the ruling elite. But just somebody who it's just difficult to imagine would be a tough guy against anyone he's not married to, you know. Is sitting there calling us out, and then and people like Pete Hegseth and like these are the people like it's so the military should be embarrassed.
For real. And I just think about like the whole progression of this, and I want to remind. So I did
exactly. Wait, I'm sorry. There it is. Tume is right. Mark Wahlberg's The Venezuela Extraction, and it'll be just as bogus as his Lone Survivor film.
Right.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. And like Sudeep says it, and it's something that I want to point out because it makes there's a track record for this, right? So Sudeep said this moment has been paved not only with white ringers but establishment libs and U.S. leftists tossing around terms like authoritarian, and he's right. And really want people, to backtrack a little bit to understand the history of all of these things. And people will say like, oh my goodness, this administration. But if you look to our run sheet there, Jared, because I was actually on it this morning, online, there's a Venezuela sanctions line. And I think it's important for people to understand that this aggression against Venezuela has been ongoing for for a long time through multiple presidents. But I think it's important that people understand the first set of sanctions that were set upon Venezuela. And so, if everyone can see, this is dated March 8th, 2015, blocking property and suspending entry of certain persons contributing to the situation in Venezuela. And it starts by the authority vested in me as president by the Constitution and laws. Da, 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 da. I, Barack Obama. So I laugh because I need people to. It is 2026. This is dated 2015. This document is years in the making. How do we set up these sanctions? So all of this is a continuation of work that has been ongoing and ongoing. And let's not forget that during 1.0, they tried to, what was the dude's name? Juan Guaido, right? Who they decided was going to be president. And now they're talking about the chick that just won the Peace Prize, that she should be installed as president. And then there's somebody else that apparently actually, quote unquote, actually won and should actually be president. So now they're going to fight about who actually should be the president when the person who was actually voted in as president was just kidnapped out of the bed in the middle of the night. Right? Like,
and then they want to talk about, and as you pointed out, I mean, this is Barack Obama calling them authoritarian and eroding human rights and threatening the private property of American citizens. So yeah, so I'm glad you're reminding everyone that this is not some, again, this is not brand new.
Right. Right.
And it didn't start with your favorite boogeyman.
Right. So I just, I bring it up because I just spotted somebody in the chat say, like, this is not about Obama. I'm not trying to make it about Obama. I'm trying to make it very clear to people that this did not just start. Right. So this is not a new thing. The pursuit of stealing the oil is not new.
You didn't say this was about Obama. This is you reminding us that while the liberals are saying this is only about Trump, that's also not true either.
Right. Right. There's a historical precedence here. And so, and once the US starts with sanctions, that's always the first step to a progressive continuation of aggressions against a sovereign nation. Like, this is the sanctions are almost always first, and then everything else comes after. So, but I don't have, there have been some very quick mobilizations. I know, like in New York, Answer, Green Party in New York, there's a bunch of people doing things. There's some, stuff. And I do wonder, what do we, like, how do you, what is the way to respond to these things that can actually accomplish something? Like, I see a lot of people saying the UN Security Council needs to meet. I'm like, for what? Meet and get vetoed by the people who are actually doing the aggression right now? Like, would meet and do what?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I other than the standard broad and vague, organize, adjust our media diet, recognize what we do and don't know before we, as we are bombarded with various headlines and punditry interpretations. But I really don't know. I mean, I was just looking. I mean, we've even heard. Now I can't remember exactly which guest was saying this. I know when I was interviewing Hillary Allen about cryptoganda, she was advocating this, but others, that we should just that part of what we should be doing is ridiculing these leaders. So, not to make light of what they're doing, but to disrespect them as people making these kinds of decisions and choices. But honestly, I don't really know. I don't know exactly what to do. I don't
Yeah.
have a good answer to that.
And I just like I wonder if people, like people who are like, this is the way to deal with what, like, so I think about the idea of a country dropping bombs on Washington, D.C., and then busting into the White House and taking Trump and Melania out of it. Like, what would the response be to that? Right? Because I'm trying to, and I apologize in advance, collective, if this gets us in trouble. But like, I want people to understand that you have to identify these things and look at them as if this was happening here. Like, what would be the response? Because you literally sent a group of people into another country and kidnapped the president out of bed, and you're holding them because they've been quote unquote indicted. I don't even know how and why and like how that happened. So you're now bringing them to your soil to stand trial for charges that you decided they should be charged with. Like, I'm like, is anybody really looking at this and wondering, like, are we for real with this? Like, we really, like, people really look at this and think like, this is the way that we're like, this is how you handle things. Because I look at a lot of statements, like I was looking at this latest, these statements about Iran, and them accusing them of like, this aggression towards peaceful protesters. And I'm like, wait a minute, y'all worried about aggression against protesters in Iran, but we're not worried about the aggression against the protesters in Minnesota, in Chicago, in DC, in New York. Like, I don't, I just, and I'm sorry, y'all, to laugh. Like, the whole thing is so absurd. Like, I just don't even, what are we doing?
I mean, it's again. I mean, these are the same, very similar at least arguments that have been made about this country and its framing of these events for a long time. I mean, this is in reverse. This is Malcolm saying, you'd be peaceful over here and go kill people over there when you're told to. Over here, it's we tell everybody that peace and democracy is the way to go, but in a moment's notice, we will drop a hammer on a whole community. And then I think someone else pointed out, I don't know if it's been raised in the chat here already, but that this is right around the anniversary of this being done to Panama, the invasion of Panama to get Noriega.
Yes.
And it's the same kind of thing.
Literally what they did in Haiti also, when they snatched like this. I mean, I'm not at all pretending like I don't understand this is a historical precedent and this is a continuation of aggressions that have been going on from this country against the rest of the world forever, right? But like, I was late because I'm like reading all the news coverage and trying to understand how no one is using the word kidnap. right? Like captured. Well, like you captured them from where? They were in bed. And to hold trial for I like what like
Well, you can't say kidnap because then that would suggest that they're innocent. So you have to say captured because then that suggests, of course, that they're not innocent and were somehow being sought, legitimately sought after. And
yeah.
it's
I mean, I guess they did have, what was it, $50 million? That was the last amount, right? Right? It was 50 million.
I'm not
And
sure, but
so
you know,
um I actually think it's in there. Yeah, 50 million. The state reward was $50 million, right? So all of this has been constructed and connived to present this idea that there is a legitimate concern with regard to an international person over this narco terrorism drug thing, which like they're so concerned about drugs, but we got Fort Bragg just doing whatever across wherever. So okay, cool.
I mean that's the other thing. You should
Right,
invade that base,
right.
you know, with their own army. You know what I mean?
And so you have all of this being done, and no, like literally as I'm going through the US media coverage, there's very little, not that I would have expected them to do it, but there's no mention of the over 100 people who've been killed fishing, right? Because there's no evidence that they were doing anything but fishing at the time, right? They talk about the taking of oil tankers, but they don't refer to it as piracy, which the last I checked is like if you steal someone's boat out of the water with no reason, it's piracy. I just Kamal didn't just yeah.
That's how we doing it.
I just wanted to jump on. I assume, people have reported that this, obviously, the topic at hand is Venezuela, and I just wanted to come on for a few minutes just to be with you guys.
Listen,
Come on
I
through.
appreciate it. Please do. I mean, no, Mark, just to be clear, Mark P. George, I did not expect anything else. No, I did not. Because this is what they do, right? This is what mainstream media does. This is what they've always done. But I point it out simply so people understand how propagandized we are. Because you're not, like when I talk to people and they're like, oh, well, I was watching. I'm like, you got to stop watching these mainstream channels. They're not giving you no information that's beneficial to you learning anything about what's actually happening, right? So, but Kamal, welcome. It's lovely to see you this morning. Thank you. I didn't know you were up this early on a Saturday.
Are you muted? You're muted, Kamal.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah,
Oh.
I was saying something in the background.
Oh.
And then I was also saying, wow. So yes, I am up this early on a Saturday because the kids are up even earlier than I am. So
I'm just teasing y'all.
I know.
I knew Kamal was up. Kamal's been very busy on the text chats this morning already, actually.
So I wanted to go off of what you guys were just talking about. I just put up this really quick. U.S. captures Maduro, Trump says. And that's the headline from the New York Times. I don't need to leave it up for too long. Venezuelan leader flown out of country after large-scale attack. So, and again, instead of being very clear about what this is, it was an invasion, right? An illegal invasion. It was a kidnapping of a sovereign president of a sovereign nation. We don't know still how many people on the ground have been killed, but we do know over the last few months, well over 100 people have been murdered through missile attacks, basically off Venezuela's shore. And so none of that adds up to a capturing. It adds up to the continuation of an imperialism war. And I think that's, I think the New York Times editorial board wrote something actually calling it imperialism. But notice in their headline of their paper that they call it a capture, because they have to keep the veneer that whatever is bad with Trump can still be fixed within a US-led system. And so even if they may disagree somewhat with the tactics, they make sure that they uphold the US being the only nation that supposedly can stand up for justice and truth, even when it once in a while veers off a certain path, right? And that's the truth that needs to keep out there to the larger public. It's nothing to do with the actual truth that the US has done this over and over and over again. If you look at the history of Latin America, South America, Central America, and US invasions and overthrows, the US continues to do this, and it does it all around the world because it's a worldwide empire. And so I agree with you. You have to look at this stuff only to analyze it, never to repeat it or to think of it as pure truth. There will be elements of truth in what they say, of course, but their bigger objective and goal is to make you continue to believe that the US is somehow a force for good, even when it occasionally strays. That's not what the United States is about. What it is about is the pure, unadulterated imperialism, murder, and killing, which we've seen over and over again, which is another clear example. And I think for me, the interesting question, I throw back at you guys, is kind of like what next, right? They didn't do a full ground invasion because they don't want to be that involved. The institutions of the Venezuelan revolution are still standing, if weak, and shown to be weak by the ability of the U.S. Empire to do what it did, but it has not by any means been destroyed, even though clearly through Maduro's kidnapping, there is the CIA and the ability to have people who are spies within that are that's obviously very clear too, in terms of they would not have known exactly Maduro was changing addresses to where he was staying. They would not have known certain information without facts on the ground or information on the ground, most likely. But the nature of the revolutionary regime is still intact, which means there hasn't been a right-wing takeover of Venezuela, even if the president has been kidnapped. The regime is still in power, right? The government is still in power. The question becomes, like, what next? Will the U.S. continue to do things to overthrow the country, overthrow the government of Venezuela? Will it impose the right-wing Nobel Peace Prize winner who supported military action? All of those are still facts on the ground that I think we're trying to figure out and learn. But I think that's also what's happening. I think those are also important, like what next steps out of this crisis moment in Latin America.
Yeah, thank you for. I didn't pull. I actually, of all the links that I have on that list, Jared, the New York Times is not one of them because I'm so sick of them. But that headline is actually the standard headline that is across all platforms. Is captured, Trump says, like those those three words, captured, Trump says. And so but this is what we do. And I'm trying, so Kamau, given no ode to John Trudell, the Nobel Peace Prize winner, is not, they're probably trying to figure out how to install her back in Venezuela, would be my guess. And I'm curious, Kamau, as an organizer, right? I think that press conference started at 11. I intentionally try not to listen to Trump, y'all. I'm sorry. This is like, I just can't. I'll wait for the clips. But Kamau, as an organizer, like I see there's multiple mass mobilizations happening right now. As an organizer, what is something that people can actually participate in order to try to at least voice? I know people don't always say, the whole mass mobilization, marching, rallies is, I think, difficult for some people because, you feel like we've done all of this, right? And then nothing changes. I am not opposed to mass mobilization because I feel like at the least it shows that the US population is not in support of what is happening, right? So it at least shows that there is opposition to the decisions that are being made. But could you speak a little bit about like why mass mobilization is something that organizations work to, and also is there anything else that people can do who can't go out or don't want to go out or don't want to participate in that way in order to do anything?
Yeah, I think mass mobilization is the tool of the oppressed at this particular stage. It is what we have, and it is what we need to use. We can't be discouraged and just say it doesn't matter, it doesn't change things. Again, part of the history of imperialism is to fight back against imperialism. And if we look back, I'll use the Vietnam War as the example. You can use the Iraq War as the example. The pushback does matter, right? Even Palestine, the pushback does matter because it does show exactly what you're saying. It's like of the tools that we have, the limited tools that we have, right? We're not a military force, but of the tools that we have to show ways in which we can show that there is internal dissent against what is happening. And mass mobilizations help do that. They help produce that. They help strengthen other countries and other people who are looking to see that this is not something that everybody here supports. And so having thousands of people go out into the street is something that is verifiable, that you can see, that you can touch, that can be sometimes can't be ignored. And with the advent of social media in this day and age, it is something that can be spread so that other people can see that folks are reacting in a certain way, and that the dominant and or the corporate narrative is not the only narrative out there, and it is not the narrative that you need to listen to. I brought up the Vietnam War because it was through the protests and the radical street action that helped end that war, because the powers that be saw that folks were turning against it. And there was a 30 or 40-year period where the United States would no longer engage in on the ground action because of the Vietnam War. In fact, the Iraqi War was the war that brought back U.S. land invasions. Of course, they used other ways in which they decided to overthrow and disrupt countries. But the ground invasion was no longer one of the tactics that they first started to use, because it was shown to the world once again that the United States can't fight ground wars, right? Iraq has proved that now when they got back into it, and Afghanistan has proven that once again. So the United States is not necessarily interested in the ground war. It is interested in other ways in which it can control and dominate. But that is important because when there isn't so much of a ground invasion, again, it is terrible to be bombed from above, but it does give the people on the ground more of a chance. And so these mass mobilizations have their place in history, and you can't just be discouraged and throw your hands up. You have to be able to get out to the street and voice opposition to what's happening. And if you can't get out in the street, again, the advent of social media, as limited as it is, allows for dissent to take place and for people to pick up on points, to understand nuance, to battle against corporate media, statements. CNB is going to put out a statement. All of those things are the tools that we have at hand until we can build a bigger, radical, revolutionary force within the United States. And again, that's the thing that we're lacking, and that's the thing that we have to struggle to build in order to stop this imperialism from happening before it takes place. And so, I think I listened to another commentary this morning by John Mubaraka, and again, I'll echo what he said was organize, organize, organize. We have to build these organizations that are big enough to have a larger influence on what's happening, not only domestically, but internationally. And again, to show that there is an opposition force within the boundaries of the imperialist empire that will fight against it. We have to do that. And as we do that, again, mass mobilizations and other things that we can do to voice our opposition, this program are things that we have to do, have analysis, bring people over, make people understand that the corporate dominance and or the corporate media dominance of the narrative is a dominance that protects imperialism, that protects the lies, that doesn't talk about the ongoing murder of Venezuelans that is happening on the ground that we don't have a body count for yet. And again, the actual kidnapping of a sovereign leader of a nation, who's now going to be brought to the United States and paraded around, and white supremacy is going to try to justify this. If there is no opposition, then this is what gets shown to the world, as the way in which most people here who live in this country think about how the U.S. should be acting.
I mean,
On that note, I'm going to leave y'all. I just wanted to come in and express some words. I needed an outlet but I have to work on the CNB statement. I appreciate
you dropping in, Kamal. Thank you.
Thank
Hey,
you.
we appreciate being in the workshop for that forthcoming statement.
Good.
There you go. Peace, Kamal.
Bye-bye.
Teamwork to make the dream work, is the ear doctor reminds us all the time. You know,
Look, I'm a fan of the pop-up. Look,
as the platform returns to full throttle, I think it's important to be reminded that was one of the core features of the original idea,
right?
That we all cross-pollinate and support one another. So I'm down with the pop-up. And Kamau is true to his own, undeniable, irrepressible Brooklynness.
Brooklynness.
I'm gonna show up. I got something to say. These colonizers got me amped up. I got something to say.
Oh man.
You
I mean, and everything he says is it's accurate. Like I see people in the chat like, these parades and stuff, they don't make, but I think there's always value in using these opportunities of rally and protest to at least educate other people, right? So the point of the organization of the mass mobilization is not just to like throw a parade. It's actually with the hope that someone who had only been watching MS Now will hear what you're saying and understand that the general premise that's being sold to you by the US mainstream media is not reflective of the actual reality of the situation on the ground, right? And so, they're gonna mobilize. Monty put in the chat, here, close to here at Times Square at 2 p.m. They're gonna be out in New York City. So, I think there's something at 1 in DC. They're calling for people to go down to the Capitol and the White House. So there's multiple things that are happening. And I think for people who think like these things are not a good use of time, I don't like, what's the better idea outside of trying to find a way to educate people and to give more people information? Because that to me is the biggest thing it's what we do here every week, right? Like our goal here is to provide information and to explain to people that you are being propagandized. So if you have an opportunity to be out in the streets and to talk to people directly, to say like, listen, do you understand what's happening here? Right? Like that is a useful effort, in my opinion.
No, I agree. And again, not having any better suggestions, sometimes, and as similar to how I see the work that we do here, it's not only just to give people information or frames, but to give people a place to vent and to meet up with people who feel the same way that they do and commiserate with others at minimum. So I think, I don't think it's a bad thing to put a show out to the world that most people in this country don't support what's being done.
Mm-hmm.
And to give people a chance to develop some new ideas and some tactics to respond and to build and to do to evolve some other alternatives and options. And again, that's what I think. I think this platform exists as a media parallel to that activist, that more direct action type of
Right.
behavior.
So it's interesting because No Innocent White says, I disagree. I think most people do support this. I'm curious where that belief comes from, because I don't know that that's.
I don't believe that.
I think if anything, the majority of people have no idea what's happening. Like if I had to call like what the majority of people are actually aligned with, it's probably complete like ignorance of the entire situation.
And I'm not
You know
saying
what I'm saying?
people, yeah, and I'm not saying that people are against it because of some righteous advanced thinking. I'm just thinking just most people, for a variety of reasons, are not interested in bombing and invading other countries.
Right.
Right. And so again, I'm not saying, we're not on the same team for our reasons why, but again, I don't believe that, and I would even wager that a majority of the people in the lower ranks, particularly of the military, they're not thrilled with it either.
Right. But this also just reminded me that we're supposed to be doing this thing, which I forgot. So my bad. Emblem 84270. Thanks for the $2. It's also the same day he killed Soleimani, which I did not even put.
I didn't catch that
together. Thank you, your brother. Shout out. Thanks, brother Jamil, for that.
Thank you.
And then Sebastian says, listening to Latin American media right now, they're making jokes about terrorized Venezuelans. Red Scare propaganda wanders back home. So
I've been in Latin America and heard the conservative. I mean, there's Latin Americans down there that and again, I'm not proud of it. I remember vividly. I always remember where I feel like I've punked out, and I was in a place where I'm not at home, and somebody says something, and it was a Venezuelan dude too, who said something crazy about Castro and Cuba, and I let it go. And I assessed the situation, counted the numbers, looked at the location, and was like, I'm gonna just have to let this one ride.
I mean, sometimes that's all you can do.
I'm way too far from home and way too by myself. So I'm just
listen.
They're down there, they think that nonsense.
Lou Jim, thank you for they say thank you for your coverage. Thank you for your support.
I did just like Smokey and Friday. I said, I'm going to let him ride off on his bike. I'm going to let Debo ride off on his bike and be like, I'm going to run back up to Black Liberation Media. I'll be talking again then.
Right.
But not right now.
So I will say, Allison, I think this is incorrect. The people in the streets of Venezuela are actually coming out against this action. The videos that I've seen of people cheering it on are from outside of Venezuela.
Yeah, Allison, that's as AI as your thumbnail.
Yeah. So I think that's actually incorrect. But there's just a lot. I don't like I don't even understand. You know what? Let me not even bring this. I'm gonna leave that one right where it is. Thank you for joining. I am not going Tahar Kayo Wale. We're gonna guess at that. Thank you. So I think that really and truly people in Venezuela see this for what it is, an attack on their sovereignty and their ability to select their own leadership and to maintain the leadership that they selected. And I think people have to be very cautious about looking at mainstream media coverage of what quote unquote diasporic Venezuelans are doing in response.
I see the Cubans are out in support of the people, not the action.
Right. And people should also really be aware of what is really at the core of this, which is, oil. Because in the end, Venezuela, with its huge amounts of oil, exports very little of its oil and actually uses it to maintain its sovereignty and to support its people in the various ways that it can attempt to do so while under sanctions. And so we should not forget that part, because it's a big part of this. Oh, y'all are really doing a lot of work here. This is a thank you. Thank you for your analysis and coverage. Anonymous Grasshopper, thank you for that.
Right on. Welcome. Thank you.
Most are apathetic or afraid and go along to get on. I do agree with this. I think a lot of people sometimes will look at things and be like, I'm not going to speak to that. I'm just going to quietly watch. But, this is how genocides happen, right? By quietly watching. And we talk a lot about the difficulty in doing the thing that could in the end reflect, it could have negative consequences, but like if I'm walking down the street and I see a kid getting attacked by a group of people, like I can't imagine that I would be the person to just walk by and pretend like it's not happening. So for me, like it's all the same type of situation. Like you should never be a person who's willing to accept the abuse of other people and accept it quietly, right? Like there's always something that you can do, even if you're concerned about how it could come back to you. There's always something that can be done. And it's a matter of finding the thing that you are most comfortable being able to do. And that's not the same answer for everybody, right? It's not the same thing for everybody. Not everybody can go out and protest. Not everybody can, do a stream or write a paper or do a thing. But, you could quietly find some way to support groups that are doing those things, right? You can find an organization that's doing that work and help with the organization of events and different things in order to do something, right? Like there's always
you could do some very easy things, obviously, are just find ways like supporting platforms like this, the way a good number of you are already doing, and in a variety of ways, financially, just liking, sharing, commenting, putting this in your socials. You could do that with alternative political parties, do that with alternative or what are considered alternative, whoever's producing the kinds of analyses and ideas you would like to see reverberate. We can just all do more of that. And then to the extent people can show up at a demonstration or can show up at organizational meetings, et cetera, and build from there. So, I mean, yeah. I would just encourage and that we, all do more of all of those things. And I just want to continue to, reemphasize developing alternatives, electoral parties, candidates, media outlets. All of these things have to be part of the effort here, so that we cannot, because we're not going to come up with the analysis and the solution on our own. And we need to get as many of us who are already in certain spaces politically to be willing to be enough on the same page for certain other actions or efforts. So yeah. But yeah, this is just I mean, at minimum, it's also just a reminder of where this country is and where we all are in relationship to it, specifically in terms of power and what power we do and do not have. Because this is ridiculous, and I'm very glad that you brought up that reminder that this is also something that has a history that predates this exact moment, which is what we need to remember when the next time we're being told that we have to go ahead and just take one for the team on this election and go ahead and, because we got to deal with this in the immediate moment. Well, these immediate moments turn into many future moments as well very quickly.
Right.
And we blink and it's 11 years later from Obama making that statement. And they're now snatching up this man and his wife, and who knows what else is going on.
Right. Y'all are doing a lot of work today. I appreciate it, but I'm actually a little surprised. So thank you, Claire, for joining. Good to have you. Allende says my plan was to stay off YouTube today because I'm so enraged. This is going to be a chanted down Babylon with music. I hear that. It's a rough. I don't even know. I really sometimes I really struggle, y'all, with how, like, what is the best, and this is the only way that I can think to do it. So you all get to suffer along with it with me as I struggle through how do we do this? And to me, the most important thing is to try and break the propaganda and get people to understand. I'll never forget when the whole thing with Guaido happened. I was talking to one of my coworkers, and they were talking about Venezuela and how they couldn't really understand. And so I broke the whole thing down, and they were like, I've never heard any of that, Renee. Like, how, like, what do you mean? And I was like, no, like, this is what we do. Like, this is what we do. So sometimes a part of this is actually responding to people who sound confused, right? Or people who don't know, or people who think they know, because the worst person is the person who doesn't know what they don't know, right? Like, the person who doesn't know what they don't know is the one that most needs the help because they are completely lost in the sauce. Mark P. George, thank you. Mark says, thank you both for making time and space for a little sanity within the rotten empire. You're welcome. Bryce Benjamin says, buenos dias, y'all. Grateful for y'all's coverage. Feeling like I'm going insane. Viva Venezuela. A la revolución chavista. Ferran los gusanos. What does Ferran mean? Bryce, you're gonna have to translate that last part for me
The gusanos are like the colonizers, right?
Oh, so that's live on, right? No.
But
is that what that is? All right.
I gotta
Bryce, help us out, Bryce. Yeah. Help us out. Adrian says, whatever happened to the Warner Group that was supposed to the Wagner Group? Is that what the Wagner Group was there doing?
Yeah, gusanos means worms. Right.
Okay.
Out with the worms.
That's it. Got it.
That's it.
Thank you, Bryce.
Fueron. Right. Afuera. Right. Afuera means out. Right. Fueron. Out with the worms.
I couldn't remember what fuera means. Okay. Got it.
Let me not anyway.
Listen.
If I would have, hearing, I needed, that's anyway, whatever, it doesn't matter. Yeah, we got it. That's the point. We got there.
Black Jacobin says, thanks for what you do. Kashiva says, we need their oil and their gold as the US dollar is declining. Other countries are using different currencies. Yeah, I do wonder about, like, and I am no economics person. I need to go back to, I haven't watched Ben Norton's channel in a while. Shout out to Ben Norton, because I'm sure he's doing some good coverage on this. I need to go back and look at this. Random thoughts says I was going to offer my own take, then I realized hearing myself isn't anywhere near as important as thanking you guys in the platform and the chat for offering this space. You're welcome. Shout out, deculturation. Trump said the US will run Venezuela, like people won't fight. I mean, this is the thing, right? Like, whenever I see the headline that says Trump says, I'm always like, okay, but what actually is happening? Because what's said and what is happening at times are very, very, very different. And so I'm always curious about, like what exactly, how much are we really going to take to heart when these things are are being posted as like this is the reality of what's happening right now. I'm going to drop in the chat, Jared, because I came across this the other day, and Basan is by far one of my like favorite reporters coming directly and live out of the Gaza Strip. And I think it would behoove people to take heed of what she says in this video. So we can share that, please.
This video is not to make you sad, because we are already sad. It is not to tell you that your life has been stolen and controlled by a bunch of billionaires, corrupt governments, war criminals, and some colonial powers. As you already know, this video is not to tell you that we are unable to change. So let's surround to this reality, because this is unlogical to say. Why? Because this deepest, darkest era of killing, poverty, exploitation we are living in right now is just a result of centuries of surrounding, of not doing enough, of this happening, out being able to be united to stop it. My question, and why I'm opening this video right now, is if not now, then when? If not after everything happening, if not in the era where we all can communicate, can organize, can tell what is happening in other places, can know where our tax money is going, can know where our gold is coming from, then look, the genocide in Gaza Strip has not stopped. We're still displaced. We are still besieged. There is no medicine, no construction, nothing that can sustain a life or rebuild is entering Gaza. Everything is pushing over the intellectual capital, over the youth, over everyone who can seek any chance to escape Gaza. This is the only thing increasing. This is the only thing happening. Your leaders are lying to you, and we are allowing them to lie because we are not fighting back. Today, I read this news about about Starbucks. Starbucks announced that finally, after 2 years, sales are increasing per 1%. What? How you give up? How can you forget and forgive these complicit companies, individuals, and governments in two genocides, actually, in Sudan and in Gaza? They are not separated at all. The people moving and supporting the genocide in Gaza are the same doing it in Sudan. You are feeding the killing machine? Come on, guys. If we are not able to unite against the habit, please, this is so shameful. The genocide is not over. They just switched the face so they can lie to you, so they can fool you. They're still killing us whenever they want. Same happening in Sudan. Do your role. Get down to the streets. Demand an end of the genocides. Right now. This is what you can do. And stop drinking this shitty coffee. Hey everyone, this video is not to make you.
First of all, I love Basan. So I've been following her now, and somebody said in the chat, like, she starts so many of her videos and she says, like, this is Basan and I'm still alive. And it's a like, I don't know, but she says it. She says, like, get out in the streets and stop drinking that shitty coffee.
I don't even know what to say about this uptick in sales. Yeah, I don't even know what to say.
Yeah, it's all wild stuff happening. It's all wild stuff happening.
It just seems it just makes sense. It's just on brand for how things go around here.
Yeah. Go back to, getting your coffee and, brunch and all the things. And you're just going to act like chaos isn't ensuing everywhere. Thank you, D Sequoia, for your $5. Thank you for continuing work. Much love. Thank you for the $1.99. I'm not even gonna try to do that one. My bad. We're gonna stop it at Aman. There we go. But I mean, I don't really have too much more. I guess if you want to look at in that list is a report from I think it's the international response, the Reuters link, which shows like some of the public statements that have been put forth from international bodies. And so I guess we could look at that quickly, but so, and it's just a rundown of the different like statements. So you do better with this, Jared. So I'll let you do it.
Well, it's the UN Secretary General. These developments constitute a dangerous precedent. Is deeply concerned about the rules of international law being respected. I mean, Germany, we call on involved parties to avoid an escalation. International law must be respected. China is deeply shocked and strongly condemns the use of force by the US against a sovereign country and the use of force against the president of a country. That's better. Military operation that led to the capture of Nicolas Maduro. There they go. That's the French saying capture. But they do say it violates the principle of not resorting to force that underpins international law. South Africa calls on the UN Security Council, the body mandated to maintain international peace and security, to urgently convene to address the situation. Well, the US is on the Security Council and doing it, so Russia says this morning the United States committed an act of armed aggression against Venezuela. This is deeply concerning and condemnable. So why again did the United States support Ukraine? Right? Wasn't the argument that Russia invaded a border? Argentine President Javier Milei. I mean, come on, man. Is this guy is has he gotten Argentinian money? I can't even get a joke out. I can't. Did he get his crypto money back? That's what I'm trying to say. Did he get his crypto money back over here talking about what somebody's doing in somebody else's country, getting scammed by crypto bros? Anyway, what we have to understand is that the collapse of the regime of a dictator was oh my God, of course. My bad. God damn. This is why, going back to the last World Cup, it is forever fuck Argentina. I'm adding them to the fuck France list. Forgive
There you go.
decision I'm making, but fuck Argentina, their racist ass soccer team, their racist ass goalkeeper. Before we even get to the Nazis and all that other stuff, and all the disappearances and all the real shit, just the God damn it. And then, oh my God, he's going to call this the collapse of the regime of a dictator that was rigging elections. Oh my God. I'm sorry, Renee. Were you going to say something? My bad.
No, I was just agreeing with you. But this is why I wanted you to read these, because I mentioned it very quickly how the international response is so varied. And you can immediately see which countries are in bed with the US because they're just parroting what,
I feel manipulated. I think you just thought my blood pressure was too low. She was like, fuck that. Damn that. Read some shit. Read this shit. Oh my God. Mexico strongly condemns and rejects military actions carried out unilaterally. I am going to go to my special forces YouTube today and see what they have to say about how this thing was actually carried out. Hmm. Canada calls on all parties to respect international law. And every time I read that, it does take me back. I mean, international law is itself designed for imperial extraction. So they're like, can we just get back to the routine abuse and not ramp it up in this kind of grossly exaggerated way? Paraguay is closely monitoring current developments in Venezuela and calls on prioritizing democratic means that guarantee an orderly transition. Bolivia reiterates its commitment to peace, democracy. Just out of curiosity, not that I'm calling, not that I'm supporting it. I'm just curious that I haven't seen anybody saying we're also sending our military to defend Venezuela's borders.
That part.
Panama, here we go. Now it's about to get real. In light of the events that took place earlier this morning in Venezuela, my government reiterates our position in favor of democratic trials and in favor of accepting legitimate wishes of Venezuelan people, as expressed emphatically at the polls where Edmundo Gonzalez was elected. Panama, Jose, goddamn.
That's the name, Edmundo. So I guess this is going to be the other. I don't know. Like,
now
it didn't work with Guaido, so we'll try this guy. And if this guy doesn't work, we'll try the person who got the peace prize. What's her face? Who got the peace prize, and it was like calling for military action against her own people while she was accepting the peace prize, because that's logical.
The government in Peru calls for prompt solution, political situation in Venezuela, transition, respect for international law. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, I want to establish the facts first. I want to speak to President Trump. I want to speak to allies. I can be absolutely clear that we were not involved. He was like, we had nothing to do with this, and we need to uphold international law. Brazil, the bombings in Venezuela, and the capture of the president. Again, capture is crossing. So they're all so this is again. They must have all gotten the memo. You have to call it capture.
Yes.
And you have to talk about international law. After that, if you want to call it unacceptable or say this, that, and the third, go ahead. But you got to say capture and you got to say international law. What does Ukraine have to say? Has consistently defended the rights of nations to live freely, free of dictatorship, oppression, and human rights violations. The Maduro regime has violated all the principles in every respect. We stand for. So you wait. So Ukraine is saying if you feel like something across your border is going on incorrectly and unjustly, you can invade? What? Oh, that's deep, Ukraine. That's deep, because I feel like that's all Russia said. But all right, okay. Belarus, my grandfather's homeland. The president of Belarus categorically condemns the act of American aggression. That's what I'm talking about. Go ahead, Belarus in the house. Alexander Lukashenko spoke about consequences and repercussions because he watched Life with Bernie Mac just like I did. Just recently in an interview with American journalist, Belta news agency cited Natalia Eskimo spokesperson Lukashenko saying, that in all caps, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Belarus is in the building. The time is coming for all narco chavis, the criminal. Oh my God, Ecuador. Ecuador with the confession. Narco chavista criminals. Oh my God. Wouldn't be no drug problem if it wasn't from Maduro and them.
Yeah, exactly. That's where it's all coming from, y'all.
And meanwhile, to Renee's previous point, I know people at Fort Bragg right now is shaking at them. Don't cut anything off. Uruguay rejects, as it always has, military intervention by one country in the territory of another and reaffirms the importance of respecting international law. Dun, 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 dun. The states must refrain from resorting to the threat or use of force. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, following very closely the situation in Venezuela, we stand with the people of Venezuela and support peaceful and democratic transition. Any solution must respect international law.
I mean, transition. Why we threw that in there?
Why we got?
Transition.
Because they're saying, "Oh boy, won an election." Honestly, I don't know enough about the claims around the election. So I don't know how they're framing or concocting an argument that Maduro is unjust in being in office, but that's what they're saying. They're just saying, Maduro needed to go one way or the other. So they're saying, if we can't January 6th here, we're going to January 6th somewhere. God damn it! And Chile express our concern and condemnation of the military actions, call for peaceful solution. Colombia, right? Deep concern, unusual air activity. What does that mean? Did they fly over your airspace? The Ministry of Iran condemns the U.S. tax in Venezuela as a blatant violation of its national sovereignty and territorial integrity. It called for the UN Security Council to act immediately to halt the unlawful aggression and hold those responsible accountable. Go ahead, Iran.
Except, why are you calling on the UN Security Council that cannot do anything the minute there is a veto? This is the part of it that's like,
yeah, you're right. You're right.
What are we talking about right now?
You're right. They're probably asking the same question. What can we say publicly? But yeah, that's a good point. You're right. España calls for the de-escalation and moderation and for action to always be taken in accordance with international law. Seriously, did everybody get an email this morning?
Look at girl Kamala. Look at girl Kamala.
Trinidad and Tobago is not a participant in any of these ongoing military operations. And no disrespect to Trinidad, but I know that's what everybody was waiting to hear. Oh my God, if Trinidad gets in it, then we're really in trouble. No disrespect. I'm sorry. That's messed up.
But I mean, the idea of being like, we're not a participant when you opened up your island to provide surveillance, like, what do you mean you're not a participant? You've been a participant for months.
Whoops. Britain's Reform UK Party. Oh my goodness. The American actions in Venezuela overnight are unorthodox and contrary to international law. But if they make China and Russia think twice, it may be a good thing. Oh my God. Oh, think twice about what? Isn't the point that the United States is picking on Venezuela because they would never do this to China and Russia? Or is the idea, is the suggestion here that China and Russia are threatening to swoop in and grab somebody? Or what is whatever. Office of the Italian Prime Minister believes that external military action is not the way to end totalitarian regimes, but they are totalitarian, and they do fuel and promote drug trafficking. But we would just prefer another way of doing it. Norway had a lot to say. The Maduro regime lacks democratic legitimacy. All right.
Next.
What happened to Scandinavia being advanced? Goddamn Norwegians. Slovakia, the U.S. military action is further evidence of the breakdown of world order created by World War II. Well, all right, we'll wrap it up here with the Czech Republic. Last but not least, we now consider it important to calm the situation and initiate diplomatic negotiations, including the participation of with the participation of the Venezuelan opposition. That's almost a democratic statement. So Belarus still wins it for me in the championship of responses. But I mean, in all seriousness, I'd be interested. I only saw that Cuba was having a rally and demonstrations, but I haven't seen or heard what they've said. But I am interested in this idea of where is if maybe even not as aggressive as I was suggesting, but where is this specific calling out of? There was one or two references to somebody's autonomy or sovereignty.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But I would think that everybody should be pissed. Like you all just swooped in and grabbed up, whether you think he should be president or not.
Right.
We should have a democratic process that deals with that and not have a foreign military come in and swoop up our president and then on charges of drug trafficking, which would then leave how many other countries open to that claim? So I
dropped some other statements.
Mm-hmm.
So I noticed that, and somebody asked, like, what was China's response? And so that first one is from China, which I'll be watching to see, because of course a lot of this is because China is one of the biggest, they accept the most oil from Venezuela. And so
they're deeply shocked, hegemonic acts, international law. So that's basically that's basically it with what we read earlier. That's all that's in here. And the president, he went on Truth Social to say they successfully carried out large-scale strike against Venezuela and its leader. That's just people should be like
right. And the last one is out of Cuba.
Cuba denounces and demands urgent reaction from the international community. Can I get some? Whoops. There we go. Strongly condemn. It's a criminal attack on our zone of peace that's being brutally assaulted. And then their message concludes with homeland or death, we shall overcome. That's when there we go. Now they're getting some of that old energy back in there. Get some of that energy back in there.
Can I just say how much I just sometimes like the chat just Charles.
Yeah, what was the Wakanda's response? We not in it. Close up shop. Shut the border. Kick telecom out.
Oh man.
They sent bro away. Get out of here. They sent Maduro away. That's why he got snatched up.
Some wild stuff, man. Brother Jamil again.
Exactly.
Shout out.
Exactly.
But they call US thugs and hooligans. Absolutely.
Man, real quick, man. Yeah. Can I just say real quick?
Yeah.
My brothers in the chat speaking up and dropping a couple of dollars on us. You literally came up in discussion yesterday, Brother Jamil. My daughters were reminiscing about the too infrequent amounts of visits to the mosque to see you speak, and they were saying we want to go again, and we want to wrap up our hair and go to the mosque and see Brother Jamil speak again. And I said, we'll have to work on it. But anyway, so I just want to throw that in there. Brother Jamil is I'm sure will be giving some fire sermons on this one right here.
Here we
They
go.
have the nerve to call us thugs and hooligans. Get him, Brother Jamil. Get him. Get him.
Free New Africa, thank you. They say if we believe our own
Oh,
analysis.
I'm sorry. My bad.
No,
I saw
good.
my bad. My bad. Please. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
If we believe our own analysis, we're in late stage capitalism. The U.S. settlers, a while in the U.S. is openly violation of international law and financial hegemony, I think. Political repression at home, etc. Why advocate for gun control? I feel like these are two totally different lanes, right? Like, I think the advocacy for gun control, as in like random people shouldn't be able to buy weapons that allow them to walk into a school and kill off. I just feel like that's different than this. I don't know. Is it me?
No, I think, but I was just thinking, I think there's a parallel here between the gun control argument and Black capitalism. That in the same way that we cannot Black capitalism our way to parity or equality, we're not going to arm our way to parity and equality either. And I want to be careful how I'm saying that, especially here. So I'm not walking away from my or what may be a more broad defense of self-defense. But I am saying that tactically and militarily, and that's why, again, I think, if we read Blood in My Eye, we would see, I think there's that he solves this, because the question isn't should we expect should we expect to protect the gun laws with the idea that we would be able to catch up and reach some sort of parity with our military opposition? No. The point is to tactically engage gun laws in the way that I think Renee was describing, with the idea that that sort of conflict isn't symmetrical in the first place. If I'm, it's a struggle for me to do this on YouTube, I admit, but so when I was on an aircraft carrier, this is my favorite story about the Navy. When I was on an aircraft carrier, we were on a nuclear aircraft carrier that had all of the latest technology, all of the R2D2 with the penis, as they used to call it, that shoots thousands of rounds a second to take out missiles, and that had all the jets and all the the nuclear, had everything. But they had people like me on the catwalk with a 50 cal machine gun and a flak jacket, with the idea, strictly because all of that technology was useless against slow moving aircraft or boats. So my point, and that's my point. That's it, and that's it. That's the best I can do on YouTube and keeping us monetized and out of jail.
No, I mean, listen, I just feel like, and Dave Silberg said, like, so if everybody in this country was armed, would it have stopped them from kidnapping Maduro? And I feel like that properly, like, kind of solidifies my thought on this. Like, these are two different things.
I was trying to do all of that. I should have just said that.
Right? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what one has to do with the other. I understand that people, and I'm not against people owning guns and like, I don't have any issue with that. I have issue with the fact that you have like literal, like, willy-nilly madness happening without any sort of actual gun control. And what inevitably happens are the people who should be least at the end of what's coming out of the gun are the people, like, these are like, why are we advocating for things that result in innocent people losing their lives? Like, that's my point, right? Like, that's the problem with the lack of gun control. It's not that people aren't allowed to defend themselves and all these things. The issue is, the reality is that the majority of when you have these massive like shootings and school shootings and all these things, like they result in people who have nothing to do with the problem losing their life. And I think that should really be like what we focus on. Just me.
Everybody did better than I did with that one. That's sometimes you just gotta, what he's saying in Anchorman, he told his homeboy, just why don't you just sit this round out.
Although I feel like your input from like actually being on the ship that is supposedly in defense of the thing that is created within the belly of the beast, I mean, there's nothing really to compare to that. There is no experience to compare to that outside of doing it.
There's something deep in what I was sharing there at the end. I will say that. But I think also to the point that Silberg and others were making, it's everybody here and everybody in Venezuela could have been all armed to the teeth. And it wouldn't have, that in and of itself, I would say, wouldn't have changed a thing. And I do think it is worth some consideration, what happens when someone in your team is targeted by those quote unquote tier 1 operators and the people who send them to do what they do. And anyway, I'll just leave it there. Everyone else has said, but again, in my experience, again, was largely from the perspective of a glorified, sanitation, janitorial housekeeper who got sent out on a catwalk with a 50 cal every once in a while. Put down the mop, put down the paintbrush, put down the sponge, and run out there and defend us against.
Wild. We got wild stuff happening. So I can only assume that the decolonial accountant got this from one of these multiple statements that are coming out. Trump released a picture of Maduro where he is, but they say Trump just announced that the U.S. will run Venezuela temporarily until a leadership transition takes place. I'm just saying, like, not for nothing, right? But like, what kind of useful transition process can be done led by the U.S.? Like, how does that, like, how
cheap oil sales, something like that? It's not going to be good for any of the people. And I don't even know if it means anything anymore to make that point, but I do hope people are paying attention, and I hope that people who are even in support of this are paying attention. Like this they just showed up and snatched the elected president and his wife from some other country, and then they want to talk to people about democracy and peace and whatever the hell else they're saying. And then they also want to turn around and condemn Palestinians or anyone else for doing what they do.
And how about the total disregard of the governmental structures that are left in Venezuela? Like, there's a vice president, right?
She don't count. It's a she, right?
No, it's a man. Isn't it a man?
It's a man?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. Anyway, but he don't count. He don't count.
So we just gonna.
He's part of the regime, the leadership of which was just captured to preserve peace and democracy. Monty's.
Oh, I thought it was.
Yeah, I thought she was a woman too.
I mean, look. Hold on.
We'll get there. We'll get there, everybody.
What the issue is, because I was listening to the
chat says it's a woman. I thought so.
Venezuela today, and you're probably right. It just occurred to me because
in which case we definitely are not paying attention to her.
Yeah, definitely not. Yes,
ain't no woman about to be no leader Ain't no woman about to be in charge of my oil. God damn it.
Sincere apologies. I think I was listening. I can't remember who. Somebody from the Secretary of State in Venezuela, and it was a man. And I think Delcy Rodriguez is the name. So apologies, y'all. Apologies.
But yeah. Now for sure.
Yeah, we just gonna act like that's not. But you know what though? But they're trying to put in the person who won the Peace Prize, and that's a woman. No,
I know, but they just fronting because that's why what's the name said Ed what's the name? They called out another name. Remember we read it a little while ago. Whatever.
Oh, Edmundo. Who they
she was a front.
Yeah.
They just used her to say some stuff and run her out of there, and then they bring in the man when it's time to do the real business. The real business of colonial extraction and exploitation is,
that's some wild stuff.
Because can't nobody get scammed by crypto scammers, crypto bros than a man. Boy, you gotta only a man can
Wild
give off
stuff.
his whole economy to a crypto bro and still be talking about, but I don't like what's happening in Venezuela. Boy.
These people, man. And I am not, I mean, look, I have a real disdain for listening to these government officials talk about anything. And so I can't listen to the current thing. Go ahead.
That Black Winter joint it was Leah. When I heard Traore say Black Winter, I got amped for a second, and then I was like, wait a minute though. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And Mani, I agree. Mani says that Mamdani will not dissent from what the U.S. is doing to Venezuela. He will use basic white bread statement about democracy and sovereignty. I do not disagree with that. And didn't he already quasi go along with this whole Maduro's a problem thing? I feel like somewhere along the line.
Well, I haven't seen him do that, but
he made some kind of statement about Maduro being problematic.
I did see Deculturation talk about his collapse against his own DSA already, though.
Mm-hmm.
So but what is he going to do? What is he supposed to do? What do we think the mayor of New York is going to say? But yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. All right, so we don't have a whole lot of time left for the AMA, but I do want to open the opportunity for folks if there's anyone who wants to say anything. I would be curious to know from the chat, if there was something in particular we did over the last year that they really appreciated or thought was a really well done show. If there's anybody that they'd like us to, revisit. There are things that are ongoing. So just know Luna and EJ will definitely be back. Alchemy will definitely back. We're trying to work something out with Andre Eastman for him to come back. There was a little bit of chatter about Canada. We are scheming right now to have Laura and Samantha come on to talk about Canada and all the problematic things that happen there. So there's definitely stuff in the works, but I would, if people have ideas or things that they, want to. Look, I'm trying to stay out of that one. Yeah.
No, I do think it's fair to remind that I think your point in particular, not only that you were right, but your analysis has been proven more correct, particularly about the elections, and FD has admitted some correction around that without crediting you for it, or acknowledging the extent to which you would have had to have played a role in him eventually reaching some clarity. So it doesn't have to be permanent, from my 2 cents at least. It doesn't have to be like permanent, some kind of hostility. But I think that's worthy of some, memory, reminding,
Perhaps. I mean, I
perhaps.
don't anticipate it coming, so I'm good. It's whatever. Sean says they really like Sky Full of Elephants interview. The whole conversation was all kinds of dope. I agree. I think having him on, that might be one of my favorite things that I've participated in, to be honest. Like, it was good. But I gotta say, like, he big timed me. So, I tried to reach out after to say like, yeah. So maybe somebody will, see this and be like, Sivo, Renee said you big timed her. Maybe he'll notice that I sent him an email a while back and he never answered. We're gonna go the shamey route.
Now that he got his screenplay done, right? Isn't that what's happening?
Yes. With what's his name? Lawrence Fishburne, was it? I think. So, it happened.
I would like to see Ali Abunimah come on and
me too.
And because of Adnan, were you with me on that one with Nora?
No.
So I got to co-panel with Ali's colleague over there, Nora Friedman Barrows, right? I think I'm getting. I mean, I watch all the time.
No,
so
I think that's right because she's on with Jay a lot over at Millennials.
Yeah. So if we can't arrange for him to, I would actually like, to be perfectly honest, more than both of them, I'd like to get John Elmer on here. His segments are admittedly my favorite. The John Elmer segments. So like, but maybe I'd love to try to get, actually before the Al-Aqsa flood, I think I had reached out to the Electronic Intifada to try to get them to be, coming around here at some point. And they big time me too. So, I know you got, big genocides to cover and whatnot, but Jared did. No, I'm just playing. So, but we could try, definitely. I think we could try again to get to link up with them. And I would definitely like to talk to John Elmer though. Yeah.
Look, I'm always for trying. I'm good with that. And somebody, David, you put it in the chat and I lost it. The chat is moving so fast.
Yeah,
I don't really know why, but somewhere up there is a note from David about somebody perhaps in Venezuela that might be good to talk to. So I'm not 100% sure, but we'll see.
I think that's a good idea. I think that between the fact that now Eugene Puryear is up the street from me more or less, and the fact that we, traditionally Ben Norton will respond to an email. He lived there. And we could also, I'm sure, also maybe ask him for some suggestions on that too. But between them, those would be some of the first people I would reach out to.
All right.
I don't know Camila Escalante,
but we'll look into it. I got it. Yeah. I got it. Thank you, David. So I mean, I just feel like there's a lot of so Sunny FX said, oops. Oh, wrong one. Doctors Against Genocide, who talk with doctors in Gaza, Sudan, and Congo weekly. That would be a good one. I'm taking notes right now. Against genocide. And I feel like Matthew Solomon might, because there's somebody in his new documentary who did 2 medical, like went out to Gaza twice to help. So I'll check. But I have it noted. I'm trying to think. Did you have a particular? I know it's a lot of them. Do you have a particular episode in mind of things that you enjoyed having people on to talk about?
Nothing that stands out more than any other. I mean, honestly, yeah, I mean, I might have to think more about that. But off the top of my head, I've enjoyed almost all of them equally for a variety of, for various reasons. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't think I have a preference, or I just think every week is a home run. So Renee could reach out to Dr. Horn. I think that might be a good.
I knew you were going to do that. I knew you were going to do that.
And Dr. Horn is dope. I don't know, you know what I'm saying? I think, it's just here and there. It's a couple little,
Oh man.
I won't say nothing about Peniel.
Somebody, you know what, Strin, you are right about this. Hiram is always fun to have on. And it has been a minute. Maybe we can get him to say something else that can become a forever clip.
Yeah, let's get Hiram on. Where Hiram at?
I know it's been a minute, and he'll pop up every now and again and send me like a text message with something random when we do stuff. So I know he's out there somewhere. So, Hiram.
Yeah, he's out there. He's out there. I even saw him somewhat recently on a nice little on the Humble, but yeah, I think that's a good idea. Let's get old. You don't read Beloved back up back up around here. Yeah.
Definitely. You don't read Beloved. That plays unnecessarily in my head all the time.
And it's just so widely applicable. That's the real thing. It's like, just like, dang. So yeah.
All right, so we'll figure that out. I'll reach out. And we gotta, I have to send an email out to Davon Love, because he hasn't been back in a while. So he's on the list.
Yeah, wait a minute. We were just in touch. Yeah. And he was talking about coming back on for something. So we should.
All right, so that'll be on
my list. I lost
track
of that.
My list of emails to send.
But yeah.
And then we had talked when Eugene was on. We talked about bringing him back with Rania. So we should definitely do that.
Absolutely.
And Breakthrough News has been posted from Venezuela today. So definitely got to do that.
Right on.
Just a heads up, Leif, they're already on the list. Multiple people have made that suggestion over time. I can't even think of why, but that's on the list definitely. But thank you. Keeping my list going. Let's see. So it's Art with Words. You have an email address and suggestion box to submit these requests. Yes, actually, you can send, because see, I did all of this work, y'all. I did so much work. I don't even know if Jared is aware that this email address exists, but you can. you can send an email to show hosts at Black Liberation Media.
Oh,
And then we can once that comes in, I can have some notes on what folks want to do. And also, it's art. I did ask you to send me an email because when we did the day long stream, it's art wanting to know, like, how can they get more involved? And like, please email it. please send an email, because I would love to tell you how you can get involved if you're interested. So, like,
show_hosts
Yep.
at blackliberationmedia.org. Show_hosts at blackliberationmedia.org. And Yipper, where would Black Liberation Media be without Renee? Nowhere. Nowheres. Underwater.
It's like herding cats sometimes, y'all. It's like herding cats. I'm trying.
Fancy.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. It only took how many years? To get an email address. We are on our way.
Professor Marandi. I don't know who Stren says that. Professor Marandi.
Yeah, I don't know who that is either.
I'm not sure.
Dwayne Monroe. Yeah.
Oh, Dwayne's definitely coming back. Definitely coming back. He's actually been working with Alchemy, Quiet is Kept, trying to merge, the whole dialectics and technology, and explain, I can't wait, like, they're working on something, and I can't wait for it to be available so we can talk more about it. Okay, Professor Marandi would be great to talk about Aran. So, all right, on the list. Got it. Noted.
Boom. Noted.
Noted. So we'll start. I'll get to work. The goal here is information. So I'll get to work. Try and figure out, who can come in.
What I do like to do and would like to see, to go back to your earlier question, I liked I kind of like the specific assignments. So, like, if we read a book, I think we should do another Saturday's book read, at least, obviously more than one, but I think that would be great. Just pick one, give everybody several weeks to be caught up, and then whether we get the author or not. And I know I've mentioned it in our private chats, but this Gabriel Rockhill book would be one I'd be interested.
I would love to do that, actually. And I also, the young person you had on, FYI, the book about media,
Marcel Rosa Salas.
I ordered that book, so that's on my list of reads. And
I would love to do some more with that.
I would love to do that.
And we have to finish Socialist Reconstruction.
Yes. And funny note about Marcel, turns out that she was a Prep for Prep kid. And I am also a Prep for Prep kid. So we got something in common. Who knew?
Well, you're both also born and raised in New York.
Yep. Brooklyn.
In Brooklyn. She's a Brooklynite. So it's Brooklyn. It's there's a couple of overlaps here.
Yeah.
And I cannot wait for you to read the book. I'm going to go back and read it again, read over it more. There's many tributaries. I've been focused on specific aspects for this project, but there's so many tributaries to. So I would love to do that. I would love to. So those, the Socialist Reconstruction. I would even, again, and I'd like to, if we could find another novel fiction, akin to Elephants. Maybe we could have a Saturdays. Maybe we could do like a I don't know, like a Patreon or channel member request.
Yeah.
I don't know, something like that. But I really liked it helps me to be sort of grounded with a particular homework assignment.
Okay. And then there's a lot that I actually, I'll have to go back now. I don't know if Josh is still in the chat. There was a request for a group reading of Black Reconstruction.
Oh wow, word.
Yeah, it was Black Reconstruction, and so that's something that we can contemplate as a channel. Maybe the whole channel can participate in something, and we can rotate through the shows to talk about different parts. I would be down to do that.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, because these heavy reads, they're hard. And I just feel like it's so much information and they're so dense. And if you're doing it alone, is like if you even have like just I need somebody to talk to this. I need somebody to
No, I
talk
mean,
to
that's
them
real.
about that.
I've just gone through this, again, surrounding Cedric Robinson's Black Marxism.
Yes.
That in reading a harsh critique of it from a couple of years ago, it just reminded me that a lot of these books I've read a long time ago. I've read them at various stages of my own political and intellectual development. I've read a lot of them independently and not in study groups. And that is a flaw. And there's a lot that gets missed. There's a lot that gets misinterpreted. There's a lot that is misunderstood, a lot forgotten. So
Right.
yeah, all of that's important. Yeah.
And I just finished that book, actually, Black Marxism. That was my last heavy read. I just finished.
So I'm gonna send you this critique and see what you think. It's thank you, Zero PE. And yes, I hope Samantha, I can convince her to do this graphic novel.
I feel methinks that won't be a huge, I don't know how much convincing she's gonna need. I feel like she'll be on board. So yeah.
I wouldn't. The Rock Hill interview on Red Nation was dope. I definitely want to read the book.
Yeah, it's still queued up, and I have not watched it yet. So
it's very good. The conversation is very good, and then I'm looking forward to the book. But yeah.
Oh, and my fault, deculturation. I missed this one. Miami Baptism called Maduro a dictator with Jay Ramos. Of course they did.
Oh wow.
Thank you.
Wow, thank you, deculturation.
But I don't know. I think book clubs are always, reading with a group is always a good thing. When ZZ was trying to get in touch with me, that was what it was for. He's trying to get through these dialectics books, which is a lot. It's a lot. So I'm not opposed to sharing time and space to try and get through some books.
Who is Miami Baptism?
I would think that's just a group. Miami Baptism, no?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If deculturation's still there, they can maybe let us know.
Yeah. But well, folks, please do continue to support the platform however you see fit. We definitely appreciate the memberships and the super chats, the Patreon. Please continue that as well, and please the non-material, just like, share, subscribe, comment, all helps. And yeah, we definitely appreciate the support and the jailbreak, so to speak, that we've experienced as a platform. So
I know while we're still out. But y'all, for real, please, folks, don't leave Patreon.
No.
And if you are so inclined and don't mind, opening a new tab and doing your membership outside of YouTube, please do it on Patreon, right? Like
That was always
that's
my preference for
that's the preference,
yeah. If
right?
folks
Like,
have the money to share, do it through Patreon. Yeah.
yeah. So that's going to be, and we're working on the Patreon. I don't know, Jared, if you noticed, I rolled us over to the new version of Patreon, so it's a little cleaner. It
Yep.
looks a little, looks a little nicer. So we'll keep doing that work over there. I'm gonna start doing like a written thing. I'm working on it. I don't want to start it until I'm certain I can be consistent with it, but to try and do like, here's what's upcoming, or that type of thing, so that we can keep folks kind of checked in with what we're doing. So
Yeah, definitely support. You get all of these gems, the afterthoughts from the Remix Morning Show, a whole bunch of pop-ups and specials. So yeah, please come on.
Did we push the Luna and EJ live? Is that
Oh
available
my
to
God,
everybody?
did that go live? Let me check. I don't even.
My
I
bad,
might not have
y'all.
even made that live yet.
My bad, y'all. That should be live.
No, it's not.
Oh yeah, let's do that. I'm so glad you just did that and reminded me.
So, as of right now,
There we go.
it is live and direct. So people can, if you whether if you were on Patreon, you could have seen it already. So we'll start there. But now the rest of you
Can see it. This was a good conversation, y'all. This was Luna.
It really was. Yeah.
First of all, is hysterical.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever laughed so much about something that's supposed to be serious. She's so funny. And that was really a lot of fun. And we're going to bring them back because we ended up talking more about EJ and Luna than we did about dialectics. I think in the end.
We did.
But we talked a lot about Vietnam.
But we talked a lot, but it was actually, I would say it this way. We talked about dialectics through the history and experience of Vietnam and their relationship.
Yeah.
So I don't think we actually left dialectics, and there was a lot of good politics in there, but it wasn't as directly focused on dialectics as I think we had initially intended.
Yeah.
The other good unintended result is that I'm going to Vietnam. So
I know.
I don't know when or how or with whose permission yet, but I'm going to Vietnam at some point, and there's going to be some Saturdays with Renee from 7 hours ahead or whatever.
There we go. Real quick before we end, and she's going to kill me, but I can't not do it. So today, January 3rd, is my mother's birthday.
What?
So, mommy, you are literally, I have no words for how much I love my mother and how appreciative I am of her and her support and all that she has done for me. Shout out to my brother who's on the West Coast and my brother to get us to be like the people that we are. But I love you, mommy. Happy birthday. Don't yell at me when you call me in 5 minutes. I couldn't not.
And many more. Happy birthday. That's dope. Yes, happy birthday, Renee's mom, Mama Renee. Yes, mom's in the building. That's what's up.
Yeah, she's the best, man. She's the best. So, but that's it. We started out this morning planning to do like a full open show, but then the U.S. government messed up.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what did you say to me this morning? What did you say? U.S. government fucking up my plans. There they go again. That's it.
I really did.
I was like, what?
I heard that Texas sport. I was so mad. I was like, man.
I was like, what they do now? Sure enough.
Definitely. Definitely.
So salute to the people of Venezuela, and solidarity with the actual people and what should be their sovereignty. And a big salute, of course, to all of us in the Undefeated chat. Many thanks to everybody who joined as members and supported with super chats and who just have done all the things to support the platform. And of course, big shout out to Renee, and bigger shout out to Renee's mom. And happy birthday once again. But as always, everybody, please do like, share, subscribe, support the Patreon. Make sure you have the bell rung so you don't miss anything as all the incredible programming drops. And we will see you all next week with more Saturday. Wait a minute. Hold up. Peace, only if you're willing to fight for it, like Fred Hampton used to say. And we'll see you next week with more
Saturday with Renee.